Okay, so the last time we left off with this crazy robot, just kind of looking all around, um, being kind of crazy. So I'd like to make him not so crazy. I'd like to have a more controlled behavior instead of this totally random type thing that he's doing right now. Okay. Oh, there's Sophie. Hello. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to make the next state of our robot contingent on the current state of our robot. And I'm also going to make a few changes to make things a little bit better. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create another function. And this one is going to be next action constant. Instead of action, I'm going to put next state constant. Okay. And what I want this to do is return the number from 0, 1, 2, and on up. This will make it easier for us to add new states later. And there's an old expression, a third repetition pays for the generalization. So we've got 3 repetitions. We know we're going to need more. So we're just going to go ahead and make this change. We're going to pay for the change. So we need a variable. And that is going to be called next state to use. And we want it to start out with 0. And every time that we use it, we're going to add 1 to it. And then we are going to return the value that was originally there. So we're going to return next state to use minus 1, because we just added 1 to it. So next state to use will be the value of next state to use, and the next time we go to get one, it will have already have 1 added to it. So next state constant is the name of our function, and we're going to put it there, and put it there. So now when we add new states, we can just use this function, and it'll give us the next state that's available, and we can move them around and it won't matter. All right. So we set the robot state to nothing, because that's what we start with. Now, get settled there, Sophie. Okay, so robot states, we're going to change that to be an array of arrays. Okay, so I think I'm just going to take this for now and get rid of it. That may have been a bad thing, but what are you going to do? And I want to tell, not extensions, math. I want to tell make code what is inside this array. And it's an array of arrays, and they have numbers in them. And then I'm going to go ahead and write right over the top of it. Okay, so I'm going to create another function. Add next states for. And what I want is a number. This is going to be the state that the robot will be in when it has these choices. And then I'm going to add an array that will be the states. So for each state of the robot, we will have a selection of states to choose from. And how will we do that? Well, we are going to add we want this one. And instead of list, we want robot states, set value at state to states. Hopefully that will work. Okay, a little bit of complaints there. We'll see if we can get it to accept that. Working with arrays is kind of a hit and miss kind of a thing. So let's ignore those for a second. Where is it that we're using this? We're using it here. Okay, so now we are no longer getting value from a random set of that. What we're going to do is let's move that out. And, oh, we're going to need that. First thing we want to do is get the value at the current state. So get robot states. This is the highest level, and we're going to get that at the robot state. Okay, and now we're going to get random values from. Collapse this block. It looks like the errors have gone away. So we have, nope, not yet. Collapsed blocks contain warnings. Oh, drat. All right. Oh, maybe it went away. Okay, maybe I just had to notice it. All right. So for each of these now, we need to add some states to this. And we're going to overwrite this one at 0 first thing. So and let's do nothing. Oh, well, not like that. Didn't mean that we are literally going to do nothing. Okay, how can we do this? Let's see, arrays. Let's see if we can put an empty array in there. Will you take it? Yes, you will. Thank you. Now, what do we want in here, though? Okay, so if we're sitting there doing nothing, what should we want to be able to do? And we could move our eyes. We could, and I need to do something about move eyes. We could continue to do nothing, or we could blink. All right. So I'm going to add another state. So moving eyes is going to be from moving eyes left to right, and we're also going to have center eyes. So I'm going to create a function by duplicating this. And I want to center my eyes. So instead of having this huge random thing here, I'm just going to set that to center, call center the eyes, and get rid of that. And when I say move eyes, I want to go to the left or to the right. I do not want to go to center because I have a different center. So instead of this, I am going to get rid of that. Now I can get rid of, oh, there's Henry. Hello, Henry. Eyes left, eyes right. Instead of that, I want to go over here to math, pick random true or false. So it'll pick randomly between left or right. So that's a little bit better for what I have in mind. And like I said, I'm going to call this. Now, center the eyes. And what I'm trying to do is avoid creating too many things with the same name. You can only have one of each name, so I have to kind of come up with different names for different things. All right, so I'm also going to create a new state for it to be in. So we've got move eyes, and we're going to have caps lock centering eyes. And like I said, I can put this here wherever I want. I can put it there. I can add this. And as you can see, no muss, no fuss. All right. Now, back to this. Nothing. We can, let's see, what should we be able to do? I'm going to go with centering eyes. I'm going to go with moving eyes. I'm going to go with blinking. And then I'm going to go with a whole lot of nothing. So we can, a lot of times we're just going to be sitting still and not have that crazy sort of motion where the eyes are going all over the place. Okay, so we're mostly doing nothing. Let's duplicate that. Now, if we are moving eyes, they're going to go to the left or the right. And so we don't want to go from moving eyes to moving eyes again. I don't know that we want to do blinking. We want to turn eyes back to the center. And I'm going to duplicate this one again. Let's scroll down. And the next thing is centering eyes. Where are you, centering eyes? There you are. So after we've centered the eyes, we don't want to center the eyes. We could move our eyes, so move back, or move to one side because we're in the center. We could blink because our eyes in the center, or we could do a couple of nothings. And we might need to take some of these out if they don't work out All right, so the next thing we've got is blinking. And where else do we have blinking? We have blinking there, and we have blinking there. Okay. There's only a couple of blinkings in here. So if we're in state blinking, what should we do? We could go to, we don't want to blink again. That's one thing that we did want to get rid of. Let's get rid of this. So we could center the eyes or moving the eyes, depending on what state it's in. Okay. So now we have this, what that creates is what's called a finite state machine. And what that is for each state that we're in, we have potential next states that we can go to. And the frequency is the probability of actually going to that particular state. So in this case, there's a whole lot of nothing. So half the time we'll go from nothing to doing nothing, so just sitting there, minding our own business. Occasionally we'll blink. Occasionally we'll move our eyes, and occasionally we'll center our eyes. Now when we're blinking, see, this nothing goes to blinking. So if we look at blinking, we can center our eyes, move our eyes, and nothing. But we cannot blink twice in a row. We could go from blinking back to nothing, back to blinking, but we won't see that blink, 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 blink like we had seen before. Okay, I don't see any errors, so maybe we should try this and see if we can get rid of that crazy sort of action that we were having, where the robot looked a little insane. All right, there you go. Download. Plug in and start it up. Still getting a lot of blinking. Way too much blinking. But he doesn't look like Crazy Eyes anymore. He's just kind of looking around. It should go back to the center and not go all the way around, I don't think. Unless he goes through the nothing. Unless he goes through nothing. Okay, let's take a look at that. We can turn him off. Okay, so now we can actually add quite a bit of personality and control his sort of personality that he has by looking at these different next steps, if you will. Okay. I'm not going to make an extra function just yet, but I'm going to need to break this up at some point. Let's see. You can go from nothing to blinking, and you can go from nothing to blinking. Blinking to moving eyes, centering eyes to moving eyes. Centering eyes. Okay. So let's take this and make this an extra nothing. Let's leave that. Blinking. Goes back to nothing, which can do centering eyes. Let's take centering eyes and change that to nothing. Okay, let's see what that does. Let's go ahead and hook up our robot. Download it. Disconnect. I like to connect, download, and disconnect because a lot of times if it pops up into USB drive mode, which happens next after that, it will mess with Chrome OS, and Chrome OS doesn't like it, and it stops listening to it, and you have to restart your computer. So I try to pull it out before it gets to USB drive mode. All right. Still a lot of blinking. Not a lot of moving back to center. Oh my goodness. That's a lot of blinking. Okay. That is way too much blinking. Let's add some more nothing to the nothing. So the blinking is less common. Although when we're doing this and we're doing nothing, blinking might not be the right thing to have there. Let's do centering eyes. Let's have moving eyes. And let's not have blinking there at all. Go ahead and have nothing. And we'll leave blinking and centering eyes. And I'm going to take out some of these nothings. And give it another moving eyes. So after blinking, we can move the eyes or do nothing. You know what? After blinking, I'm going to go to nothing. There will only be one transition to go from blinking, and that is going to nothing. So you blink, you go to nothing. You can center your eyes, you can move your eyes, and you can do too much nothing. Now that I've taken blinking out of there, I don't have to worry about that. So if we moved our eyes, we can center our eyes. We can do nothing, nothing, nothing. I might add blinking there. Centering our eyes, we add blinking, moving eyes, moving eyes. Or let's add one, nothing. Okay. Take one of these out. All right, I think I like that now. So basically, we're just messing around. That's the technical term for what we're doing. We are messing around. All right. Let's go ahead and plug this in now and see if we have gotten rid of some of that blinking all the time. It really shouldn't have been, but you know, maybe it's not really random. Let's see what kind of personality we've given. Oh, that's better. That's not blinking all the time now. Okay, I think I like this personality that he has now. Okay, so now what we've done is we've got ourselves ready to add more stuff. So we've got this new way of adding stuff to our, let me maximize this now. And I think now might be a good time to break it up a little bit. So let's create some functions. No need to shout. Initialize. State constant. And what I want here is I want this. There we go. And I'm going to change this to finite state machine. Because a finite state machine, as defined by our mathematicians, is a machine with some very specific things that it can and can't do. And this is one of those where it has several states and very specific ways for it to get from one state to the other. And it's limited in what states it can go to. Now, before, in the last video, we ended where any state could go to any other state. And we've changed that now. Not every state can go to every other state. For instance, if you're sitting there doing nothing, you will continue to do nothing until you move your eyes in some way. And then after you've moved your eyes to the center, you're allowed to blink. Okay? So, we're constraining what our robot can do based on this finite state machine. All right. So let's collapse this. Now, we need to do a couple of things. Let's initialize constants is there. Constants are our servo constraints. Let's do that. Let's call that that. Constraint. I think that's how you spell it. Is it? I don't know. Could be. Could very well be. All right. We also need to initialize our state constants. And then we need to initialize our finite state machine in that order because we need these constants to initialize that machine. And let's make another function. Initialize robot. And initialize robot is going to do these things here. Oh, we already had a call finite state machine. Let's take that out. We don't need it. Don't need it twice. Although it would work with it twice. Now we need to put this in here. I don't think we don't care about these. That's fine. All right. That is now manageable, and we can find what we're looking for a little bit easier because we've broken it up into a number of pieces. Let's collapse that block. Okay, so these are part of the initialization we're doing. These are also initializations, so we can add these to that little category. So we've got our initializations here grouped together. We've got our on, start, and forever grouped together. We've got our different actions that we can do grouped together. And we've got our servos grouped together along with this comment. So set eyelids to an angle and eye center. These are all dealing with setting our robot servos. Okay, so that's pretty good so far. All right, so let's end the video here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video very soon.